Welcome to Bloomington Today. I'm Kaylin Cockrell. Thanks for joining us. For nearly a year, the cities of Bloomington, Edina, and Richfield have embarked on the Do Town campaign, which involves a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota to promote healthy, active lifestyles. And on past shows, we've guided residents through various healthy activities in a segment called Do Town's To-Do List. In this week's special edition of Bloomington Today, we'll take a look back at some of our favorite to-do list items we've checked off. Minnesota residents are well aware of the fact that winter is cold, long, and oftentimes boring. And when cabin fever gets you down, take a turn at trying a new winter activity. The Bloomington Ice Garden may be the perfect place to start checking things off your to-do list. According to the U.S. Figure Skating Association, the number of adults hitting the ice for fitness and pleasure is rising, largely due to the all-body workout a skater receives.
One of the misconceptions a lot of people have about skating is that it's all done with the lower body and the legs. And in fact, a lot of people, once they start skating, kind of find out that they have to use their core body muscles a lot more and their arm muscles a lot more than they expected, because especially when they're first skating and they're having their arms out for balance and keeping them out for an extended amount of time, they really start feeling that. But we really think that it's a good core exercise and it's good for body alignment and balance.
Renee Galasinski has been skating for more than 40 years and began teaching residents of all ages 25 years ago. Let's see if Renee can teach me some of the basics of recreational skating. Now Renee is going to show us how she begins teaching any newbie when it comes to ice skating.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is learn how to sit down and get back up.
Okay.
So this is all part of that kind of learning how to fall safely thing, because we really, there's a whole big, awareness of concussions now. So we really want to avoid falling back where a lot of people hit their head.
Okay.
So what you're going to want to do is get your arms out.
Okay.
Really bend your knees and just bend, and then just sit down.
Okay. So that's a proper fall.
Right.
Okay. Now how do we get back up?
Then for getting up, we're going to roll over on hands and knees. You're going to put one foot up, and you can push on your knee or push on the ice or both, and that's just gently push up.
All righty.
And that's it.
All right, we got it. Learning to skate involves facing new challenges daily, and the results on a person's health can be great.
We have a lot of people that take up skating for exercise if they have maybe some knee issues that their bodies can't withstand too much running or walking and the impact on the joints. And so with skating, it's a much easier impact for the lower body joints. And a lot of people, don't like to be hot and sweaty when they're exercising, so they can come to the rink and it's nice and cool, and it's a different break than being in the gym.
After learning the safe way to fall and finding your balance, the next step is learning a simple crossover skating technique.
When you take one foot and move it over the other one.
Okay.
So the foot that's crossing over, that same arm is going to be in front. You're going to want to get a nice stretch here and this stretch underneath.
Oh, got it.
So you get a stretch and a stretch. One thing you want to avoid is this.
Oh.
So you don't want those, and that's a really common thing, like in hockey strides, that kids, get this going instead of having that stretch out and then bringing it back underneath you.
So now that Renee has taught me how to get going when ice skating, I think learning to stop is an important thing too. Tell me about a basic stop.
Okay, basic stop we're going to do is the snowplow stop. Okay. We're going to stand here and keep our arms out, cushion bent knees. We're going to push our feet out. Right. Okay. So you're going to make some snow and just feel that pressure on the ice.
Okay.
And then from there, we can try it moving. Great.
Wonderful. As the lesson gets more intense, some might say I became a bit overly acquainted with the ice, but that's all part of learning something new. Now, on to the next part of our lesson. Well, now that we've learned some of the basics, falling and getting up and snowplow stopping, why don't we take it a step further? How do we skate backwards?
Okay, backwards, you're going to start with your arms out.
Okay.
And you're just going to kind of twist at the waist. And as you're doing this, you're kind of applying pressure to alternating feet. So you're going to kind of feel pushing with left foot, left foot, and then you just kind of go.
Okay. Well, that was quite a workout. Thank you, Renee.
You're very welcome.
And if you'd like to learn any of the things that we talked about here today, Renee is here several days a week teaching ice skating lessons. For more information, visit the city's website. There's a link on there to the Bloomington Ice Garden. Sea Life Minnesota, located in the Mall of America, has more than 10,000 animals swimming, gliding, and crawling around the various tanks and exhibits. On average, 2,000 to 4,000 visitors come through Sea Life Minnesota on a given day. But what many don't know is Sea Life has a program where looking at the beautiful animals is just the start.
When you're on the snorkel adventure, you're going to be in the water, staying on the surface with lots of different fish. It's about 30 minutes long, and you just swim around and explore and see the fish and watch them interact with each other.
And today I'll be checking snorkeling at Sea Life Minnesota off my to-do list. But first, I need to learn a bit about how to be safe while having lots of fun in the tank. First, Megan taught me a bit about some of the fish that live in the tank, while also describing their defense tactics. Some fish, like the fox-faced rabbitfish, have venom sacs in their fins, while other fish, like the blue hippo tang, have a sharp spine on their tail.
This doesn't mean that they're going to use those mechanisms against us, but we just want to tell you about them in advance so that when you see them, you can kind of watch them interact with each other.
Then I learned a bit about the gear that I'll be wearing, including the proper way to fit goggles to keep them airtight, how to get into my hood, and the right kick used to propel me around the tank in flippers. Now that I've been prepped, we are ready to go on in. This 80,000-gallon tank includes over 65 species of tropical fish, including pufferfish, a 25-year-old sea turtle named Aggie, and even sharks. The chance to interact with exotic animals like this is once in a lifetime. But another awesome aspect is snorkeling forces you to use different muscles than you would normally use.
You're used to running or biking or walking out here in Minnesota, but instead you're in the water, kicking, moving your arms a little bit different. You're kind of in a different position where you have to hold your neck differently so you can look around right. Because if you look too far to your feet, you're going to put your snorkel underwater. So you have to be conscious of where your body is, and usually that means holding yourself still or moving faster away from certain animals.
Let's take a look at how things were seen from my perspective, using a small underwater camera, which was attached to my wrist during the snorkel adventure. Sea Life Minnesota's snorkel experience is for anyone who is at least 9 years of age, adventurous, fascinated by the underwater ecosystems, and comfortable in the water.
It's a little bit unique, because you are in the middle of Minnesota and you're in ocean water or salt water. It's also unique because it's you with the maximum of 3 other people in this water, and you're not crowded, and you get to kind of just swim around and do something different than what you would normally do in a lake, because in a lake you can't see the bottom, whereas here you can.
Sea Life Minnesota encourages individuals and groups to come and experience a coral reef right in Bloomington. That was awesome. I can check snorkeling at Sea Life Minnesota off my to-do list. Once the skis and snowboards are hung up for the season, Highland Ski and Snowboard area repurposes their grounds to create an 18-hole disc golf tournament course. Disc golf is a sport growing in popularity that was formalized in the 1970s.
Disc golf is just like traditional golf. Instead of using clubs though, you use flying discs, and instead of going to a hole, you go to a basket. Score is kept the same way as traditional golf in the way that you have birdies and bogeys and pars.
Before I give disc golf a try for myself, April, why don't you tell me about the different kinds of discs you use when playing the game?
Like traditional golf, they use different kinds of clubs based on the holes. Frisbee golf has different kinds of discs. Based on the distance, they make a long distance driver and a distance driver, and once you get closer to the tee, they have putters, which are heavier and thicker, which you have more control over.
To start the game, each player throws a disc from a tee area to a target, which is the hole. Most disc golf holes are elevated metal baskets. Oftentimes, that first throw can be a long one. April tells us that is why seasoned disc golfers use different throws depending on the hole.
There's two different main ways you can start by throwing your Frisbee disc. There's a backhand, which comes across the front of the body, mostly for long distance shots. There's also a forehand throw. We're going to come across this way and flick the wrist. Once you're on the course and you're in the woods, there's a couple different ways you can throw it. You can stick with that backhand. Also, there's a tomahawk that comes up and over just like a softball that will help you clear out some of those trees.
The object is to complete each hole in the fewest number of strokes, or throws in the case of disc golf. Let's watch April tee off on the first hole. Nice shot. Let's hope I put what I learned from April to good use. Trees, shrubs, and terrain changes offer challenges as a player moves from one hole to the next. And while disc golf courses are all different, Highland Ski and Snowboard area has a lot of unique qualities that make it not only fun and challenging, but great exercise as well.
We love to play Highland disc golf course because it's well maintained, and it also gives you maximum exercise because it climbs and descends through their ski hills, and it's a beautiful, challenging course.
Disc golf provides upper and lower body conditioning, aerobic exercise, while promoting a combination of physical and mental abilities that allow for very little risk of physical injury. Concentration skills also increase by mastering shots and negotiating obstacles. Great game, April. I can check disc golfing at Highland off of our to-do list. When you see a canoe or kayak cutting smoothly across the surface of a lake or river, it's easy to wonder if the sport might be something that suits your lifestyle. Both canoeing and kayaking involve paddling a small craft through water. Bush Lake is a prime spot to try out this sport. Just ask Bloomington resident Dr. Jamie Peters, who stores both a canoe and kayak in the city's racks each summer.
I think there's a lot of things that make it ideal. Number one is that it's gorgeous. I mean, there's beautiful hills around Bush Lake. There's very natural areas where there's no houses, and you can use your imagination and feel like you're in the middle of North Country somewhere. Number two is that there's some interest to it. So it's not just a round lake. You have basically a large L, and so you're not just canoeing around circles.
While the words canoe and kayak are often used interchangeably, there are a few basic differences.
Canoeing can be very versatile. You can carry heavy weights, you can do trips on it, so you can do overnights. So it's versatile in that way. It's much better with two people than one person. So a kayak, especially a single person kayak, which is the majority of kayaks, is much more stable with one person.
Jamie has been canoeing since the age of 9 and took up kayaking about 15 years ago. And while he enjoys both, today he'll be teaching me the basics of canoeing. First, we work together to transport the boat from the storage rack to the water's edge. Before we even hit the water, I'd like to learn a bit about each person's role in the boat. The person in the front and the person in the back do different things, correct?
Correct. The person in the back is actually responsible for steering and the direction of the boat, so you want to make sure that's understood and there's compatibility personality-wise. Sometimes that could be a problem with my wife in the front, but that's, you know, we work that through. And when you look at the boat, it's not completely symmetric, so that the boat itself, the bow, which is the front, the seat is further back than the stern, which is closer to the point, the back end of the boat.
After learning the back paddler is the steering and the front person is the power, it's time to learn the proper handling of the paddle. Now, another big thing before we even get in the water is to make sure you are holding the paddle properly. How should we be doing that?
Well, first of all, size-wise, you traditionally would want to have the paddle fit underneath your armpit, so I think we're pretty well set here with the right sizes.
Yep.
The hand, if you're paddling on the right-hand side or the starboard side of the boat, your hand is on, that left hand is on top of the paddle,
okay,
and the right is close to the neck, so that this is your stroke.
Okay.
And also key in that is when we're in the water, you'll see a lot of the stroke has to do with the movement of your body, so that you don't overuse your arms.
What many people may not realize is there are specific strokes used in canoeing. Let's learn a few of the basics.
The first is the forward stroke, and that's what both the person in the bow and the person in the stern would use. And that's with the hand up here, you catch or get the blade, that's this part, in the water, pull back through, then bring your arm around, and again, pull back through, bring your arm around. So it's a very simple stroke, and it should be very easy on your arms and shoulders. You also would want to be able to reverse that and go use the other side, and usually the person in the bow would be paddling on the opposite side from the person in the stern. So that again is communication. Another stroke that's very important is if you just use the forward stroke, the bow will normally turn the opposite side where your paddle is on. So the stern person has to master something called the J stroke. And a J stroke starts like a forward stroke and then forms on the right side, forms the letter J. So as you pull back, right when it gets past you, you push out that way, and that forces the bow back again in the proper direction. And the draw stroke is the reverse of the J. So if the bow person wants to help that pointing part and get that and make it easier on the stern person, it's the opposite of a J. They start from outside, pull inside, then pull straight back.
Now that I've got the concept down, I think I'm ready to help launch the canoe. And joining us on the trip around Bush Lake is Jamie's 80-pound German Shepherd, Orso, proving that canoeing can be fun for all members of the family. When entering a canoe, make sure you wear a properly fitted life vest and step into the middle of the boat. Once we've settled in, we're off.
And it's a gorgeous day for a canoe. So here we go.
As a sports medicine doctor in the Twin Cities, Jamie has found canoeing and kayaking to be a great way to achieve a low-impact workout that can improve a person's aerobic fitness, as well as strength and flexibility.
People should do what they enjoy, and they should do it a lot. And I think canoeing is just using different muscles, and that's all about cross-training. We encourage all of our patients, the entire population, to cross-train. That's a way to keep your muscles balanced, not overuse ones and not use others. And canoeing's great not only for the shoulders and for the arms, but as you twist and turn with canoeing or kayaking, it really strengthens those abdominal muscles, even the hip muscles, especially with kayaking.
After a half hour on the lake, it's evident that canoeing and kayaking awakens muscles not used on a day-to-day basis. Not to mention, the view offshore is breathtaking on a gorgeous day. What a fun workout. Now we can check canoeing at Bush Lake off our to-do list. The hallways are quiet at Kennedy Senior High School in Bloomington. It's early, class is hours from being in session, but one area of the school is swarming with wide-awake residents getting their daily dose of exercise long before students fill these hallways. Welcome to the Kennedy Activity Center.
We joke about in the morning it's like happy hour without alcohol, you know, and it's a chance to just be a small community in a very large community.
Members have access to a full weight room, complete with cardio equipment, medicine balls, and various weight machines. But that's just the beginning.
Our track has 4 lanes, 7 laps is a mile, and I did mention below the courts, we always try to have an open court for our members so people can shoot baskets, some people kick a soccer ball around, some people play catch. It just depends on how much space is on the court.
Kennedy Activity Center has offered fitness memberships through community education for the past decade, and many think it's one of the city's best kept secrets.
Well, I think part of the reason people like coming here versus a larger club environment is our size. It doesn't really feel like it's a competitive environment with other members. There isn't that competition, and just accessibility. From the parking lot to the facility and using the equipment that we have, the accessibility is pretty easier. And most importantly, I think the cost is a huge difference.
And a few things are for sure when spending time at the Kennedy Activity Center. You'll break a sweat and you'll make some friends.
The people that come in here come in typically on a regular basis. I've met people that I never would have met in the community, working here or working out here. Same is true for my husband. People say that all the time, that the friends that they've met here they never would have met.
Stop by the Activity Center and fill out a membership application to gain access to this all-in-one workout facility. Be sure to bring proof of residency, as the Bloomington residents get a break.
Come on in and join.
I'm Gene Winstead, Mayor of the City of Bloomington, and I'm here with Debbie Gotell, Mayor of the City of Richfield, and Jim Hovland, Mayor of the City of Edina. We're excited about a collaborative effort between our cities in partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield to develop our communities into healthier places to be. We're looking for all of you to be a part of it to improve health in all of our communities.
Let me see you shake that body. Come on and rock that body. Let me see you good shine. Everybody move your body. Let me see you shake your body. Come on and rock that body. Let me see you move something.
And that's all the time we have for today. To get more information on city projects, parks, road construction, and events, visit the city's website. To check out past episodes of Bloomington Today or other city productions, visit Bloomington's YouTube channel, accessible right from the city's homepage. That and so much more is online right now at www.ci.bloomington.mn.us. If Facebook or Twitter isn't your thing, sign up for eSubscribe to have updates sent right to your email or cell phone. This is Bloomington Today, a presentation of the City of Bloomington's Communications Division. I'm Kaylin Cockerill. Thanks so much for joining us.